You know, it's weird, right? Like Anthony Joshua, he's everywhere. Even if you don't really follow boxing, you know the name, headlines, ads. The guy's practically a brand himself. And we're diving into all of that today, figuring out what makes him tick. Got his Wikipedia page up here, and honestly, reads like a movie waiting to happen.
It really does. A lot of folks, they see the Olympic wins, the titles, but there's a whole other side to Anthony Joshua, a depth people kind of miss.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not just doing the whole career recap, blow by blow, that kind of thing. We want to get into what makes Joshua, well, Joshua.
Absolutely.
Right.
Celebrated, criticized, all of it. Makes him more interesting, you know?
Totally. So where do we even start with a guy like this?
Well, his start in boxing is pretty wild. Didn't even pick up gloves till he was 18.
18. Seriously. I mean, most guys at his level, they're practically born in the gym.
Right. Cousin suggested he try it, apparently. And boom, just a year later, he's already an amateur champ. Even gets offered like 50 grand to go pro.
Okay, at 18, that's life-changing money. Hard to turn down.
It is. But, and it's he said no. Turns down the cash, because what he really wants, Olympic gold. Not about a payday, it's that dream, you know?
Wow. You can almost picture it, yeah. Grinding away in some dingy gym. Wait, it says here, Finchley ABC, isn't it?
Chizora's old stomping grounds. Yeah, the Finchley. The place is basically a boxing factory, turning out champs left and right.
And it's there that Joshua goes from, what, raw talent to?
A force of nature, basically.
Yep.
By 2011, he's facing Roberto Camarel, World Championships. And he destroys him. Dethrones the reigning champ, no less.
Camarel, okay, that's not just a win. That's a statement. The kind of thing that puts you on the map worldwide.
100%. It's Joshua's arrival, you know? And it sets up 2012 London Olympics. All eyes on him, hometown hero. The pressure must been.
Intense. And then there's that Savon fight, right? The one that still gets people talking.
Ah, yeah, Aroslindi Savon. Cuban boxing royalty right there. A lot of folks thought he won that fight, but officially, it's Joshua.
Controversial, sure, but a win's a win. Almost like it was meant to be, right? Setting up that final bout, Camarel again, but this time, it's for gold.
And what a fight it was. Joshua's down early, got to dig deep, comes back, wins by countback. People were on the edge of their seats.
I bet. Underdog story, the comeback, Olympic glory. It's like something out of a movie.
Totally. But then, 2013, he finally goes pro. And the knockout streak, man, it was electric. Power, speed, the guy was unstoppable.
Unstoppable's the word for it. But you're saying there was more to it than just those knockouts.
Oh, absolutely. If you look past the highlight reel, there's strategy there.
Yeah.
Joshua wasn't just some brawler.
Okay, now you've got me. What were we missing then?
Think about the Parker fight,
Oh.
2018.
Yeah.
Joshua wins, right? But it goes all 12 rounds. No knockout.
Which, after all those KOs, that's got to raise some eyebrows. What was so important about that fight?
It showed Joshua's weaknesses. Parker, he was quick, good reach, exploited some gaps in Joshua's game. But 2T, and this is crucial, it showed Joshua could adapt, go the distance, outbox a tough opponent. Maybe not flashy, but a win's a win, and it kind of sets up everything that comes after.
You mean the Ruiz fight? The loss that, like, shook the boxing world? Nobody saw that coming?
Exactly. And, yeah, that's a story for another time. But the thing about that loss, it's not the end for Joshua. It's a turning point. And we'll get into why real soon.
Okay, now you've really got me hooked. This is where things get interesting.
See, this is what's fascinating about Anthony Joshua, right? It goes beyond just being a boxer. Yeah, the Ruiz fight, that was a setback for sure. But it's how he operates outside the ring that's interesting. Remember how he turned down that 50 grand early on?
Oh, yeah, the whole business side of things. It's not every day you see a boxer building an empire like that, especially not while they're still active.
Exactly. Endorsements left and right, investments. The guy's aiming to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
And it's not just slapping his face on stuff. He's strategic about it.
Yeah.
Building a real brand.
So what's the secret? Plenty of champs out there, but not all of them become, like, global icons.
It's a bunch of things coming together, really. The backstory, for one. Late bloomer, chases the Olympic dream, beats the odds. That's powerful stuff, gets people invested.
Right, the whole underdog story.
Then you've got the physical presence, let's be real. Dude is built like a superhero. But it's more than that, it's the charisma too, how he carries himself. You got to factor in the image management. It's very deliberate, what brands he works with, what he says publicly.
So not just a boxer, but a whole brand identity he's cultivated. Kind of like a superhero with a sponsorship deal, haha.
You could say that, but we got to acknowledge the other side of it too. The controversies, those social media posts, the stuff about race, Mugabe.
The ones that kind of made everyone go, wait, hold up, is this the same guy?
Exactly. It's where Joshua's image gets messy. There were apologies, talk about hacked accounts, but still,
Mm.
that stuff sticks with people.
Because on one hand, he's putting himself out there as a role model,
Yeah.
right? Especially for young people. But then you've got these incidents that make things complicated.
Exactly. And just to be clear, we're not here to pass judgment, you know. We're laying out the info, the different sides, and letting people come to their own conclusions.
Which, let's be real, that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right?
Yeah,
No easy answers, just the information and the space to think for yourself.
100%. But let's swing back to the boxing for a sec. Because that Ruiz loss, as tough as it was, it ends up being a turning point for Joshua. Not just that he lost, but how he responded.
The rematch, yeah. The weight loss, the discipline. Did that change how we view that first fight? Like, was he underestimating Ruiz Jr. before?
Could be. But the rematch shows something important about Joshua. He learns, doesn't let defeat break him. He figures out what went wrong, trains harder, comes back stronger.
And he goes on another tear after that, right? Pulev, that was a statement. Seemed like he was back on top.
Right. But boxing, it's a constant climb, you know?
Yeah.
Every win just sets up a bigger challenge. And for Joshua, that came in the form of Usyk.
Oh, man, Usyk. That was a clinic, pure and simple. Outclassed him completely.
He did. Showed that there's always someone gunning for the top spot.
Yeah.
But even in losing, you got the sense that Joshua still had that fire, that drive to reclaim what he'd lost.
Which brings us to, well, last month. That Dubois knockout. Brutal to watch, even for someone like me who's not a hardcore boxing fan.
Yeah, total upset. And it throws everything wide open, you know?
Right.
Makes everyone ask, what's next for Anthony Joshua?
That's the big question, right? It's not just that he lost, it's how. That knockout was decisive, to say the least. Makes you wonder what's going through his head now.
It's wild, isn't it? I mean, you look at his record, Olympic gold, all those title wins, he's reached the mountaintop, you know.
Yeah.
But these last few fights, they've shown some cracks in the armor.
Yeah, that aura of invincibility, it's gone. So can he come back from this? Should he even try?
And that's where it gets really interesting, right? Because to understand what Anthony Joshua does next, you got to understand the man himself. Go back to the beginning, remember. That drive, the ambition, even as a teenager, he's always been playing the long game. Legacy-minded.
So how does a loss like this affect that legacy?
Exactly. Is it about the belts, the highlight reel knockouts,
Mhm.
or is it about what he does outside the ring, the businesses, his platform, being a voice for others?
It's almost Shakespearean, the champion facing his own mortality, not just in the ring, but as this icon he's built. What does it even mean for a guy like that to be knocked down, literally and metaphorically?
And that's the beauty of it, right? We can speculate all day long, but no one knows what Anthony Joshua does next.
So what should we be looking for? As fans, as observers, what does this next chapter hold?
I think it's about looking deeper. Beyond the headlines, the hot takes. Is he going to chase another title shot? Revamp his style? Or does he go all in on the business stuff, knowing he's still got that star power?
So this deep dive, this whole Anthony Joshua story, it's far from over.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
And that's what's so compelling about him, right? Keeps us guessing, keeps us engaged. In the ring, out of the ring, the guy's full of surprises. Whatever he chooses, one thing's for sure. Anthony Joshua isn't done writing his story.
And we'll be here to cover it every step of the way. So to everyone listening, if you want to understand what makes someone like this tick, you got to stay tuned. This is one for the history books, folks.